Hello, my watchers or whatever. Today I'm going to do something a bit different. I'm going to read some creepypastas, some scary stories that I have not read before. I want to do this so I can test my reviewing skills in real time and also my narration skills. And I don't know what I'm reading. I don't know. I do that with visual novels anyway, but who knows? That's not the same thing as an actual story. So we're starting off with something called Paradise Pine by C.K. Walker, which she wrote Baraska, which is one of the most overrated creepypastas I think has ever been written. Like, yes, it's really well written, it's really good, I like it a lot, but that doesn't change the fact that it is not as good as people say it is. Period. It won't change your life, it won't scare the pants off you. If anything, it'll just make you more depressed and scared. So, yeah. Crucify me for saying that, I guess. I don't know. So, anyway, this one's called Paradise Pine. Nice little cabin picture here. That actually looks like a nice cabin. I want to stay there. 5 years ago, my husband and I decided to spend Thanksgiving at a cabin up north. We planned on starting a family the following. Okay, so it's not gay. Yeah. Yeah, definitely not. Maybe it is. They're adopting. Fuck now. Following year, and so we wanted one last romantic holiday with just the two of us. Found the place online through a website we've used in the past and booked it for a week. The cabin was located outside of Pine Top, Arizona, and the owner warned us that it can be hard to get back into the winter because of the snow. Back to in the winter because of the snow. The property was 13 miles from the nearest town and 4 miles from the nearest paved road. Aaron and I weren't worried, however, since our Jeep had snow tires and we were also bringing tire chains. Okay, so right off the bat, we have a decent setup. I mean, this is pretty cliche. This is pretty fucking cliche. This sentence, property was 13 miles from the nearest town, 4 hours from the nearest paved road. Yeah, that's pretty neat. That's pretty cliche for a horror story. We arrived on a Friday afternoon. We had made excellent time on the drive as there was actually very little snow on the ground. We decided to take a tour of the cabin before we unloaded the car. The cabin, named Paradise Pine, was 3 stories tall and built into the side of a mountain. The top floor was simply the master bedroom, which was connected to the 3rd story balcony via a sliding glass door. The front door was located on the second wall, along with the kitchen, living room, and the basement housed another bedroom, a washer, a dryer, and a wood furnace that heated the cabin through a large pipe that extended up through all 3 floors. Even though the views through the bay windows were beautiful, the first thing we noticed when we walked in was that the cabin hadn't been cleaned. Oftentimes, with very rural properties, the owner will offer to waive the $150 cleaning fee if you're willing to clean the place yourself before you depart. Most guests opt to do this, but in the rare occurrence they don't, the owner sends a cleaning crew. The previous tenants in this cabin had clearly decided not to clean, and also to not inform the owner they were leaving it dirty. So they're scumbags then. Yeah, they're scumbags. If you don't do that, I'm automatically distrustful of your moral fiber. Since it was a holiday and a snowstorm was forecasted for early next week, we decided to clean the cabin ourselves and asked the owners to reduce the bill when we left the following Friday. We bought everything in from the Jeep and got to work with dishes and laundry. Afterwards, we made an easy dinner, opened a bottle of wine, and played a few games of billiards on the pool table in the living room. The temperature started to plummet around 6 in the evening, and I asked my husband, Aaron, "You don't need to fucking. Okay, so you already said that this is his name. You already said Aaron. You already specify that it's your husband, and you said Aaron here. You don't need to do. And I asked my husband, Aaron. That's kind of redundant. You can just say I asked Aaron to go down and light the furnace in the basement. I went up to the bedroom to wash my face and change into warmer clothes. The bathroom connected to our bedroom was oddly doorless, had a broken mirror and a torn down shower curtain. Wow, there's been some cowboys in here. What? Okay. They hadn't even bothered to pick up the glass up off. They hadn't even bothered to pick the glass up off the floor before they left. I did so carefully, regretting the stupidity of the drunken idiots who must have stayed here the week before. Took a few photos with my phone and planned to send them to the owner when he got back in town on Monday. I certainly didn't want to get charged for damage inflicted by the previous tenants. I met Aaron at the main level of the house and told him about the bathroom. See, you did it here. Do you seriously think... Do you seriously think that readers have such a small attention span that you need to specify that Aaron is this character's husband twice? Do you really think that they're that poor? Whatever. Well, that's not the only thing that's broken. The light's out in the basement. I couldn't find a flashlight. I didn't manage to find a furnace, though. I squirted some of the cheap vodka your sister sent in there, threw in a match, and hope for the best. Jesus Christ, okay. Seems to be working, I stammered through now chattering teeth. I can feel the heat coming through. Here's my fucking thing. Why the fuck wouldn't you, like, have fucking insulation if your cabin is in a place where it gets really fucking cold? Why wouldn't you have insulation in the fucking walls? I held my hands to the metal pipe that went its way around the house. Keep the basement door closed, it's freezing down there. One of our favorite things to do when staying in a cabin was to read through all the journal entries of the previous guests. Usually it was just things like went fishing with the kids, caught a bass, or had a barbecue, played cards with the family, but occasionally you found something more interesting like got drunk, set a tree on fire. Actually, yeah, that's something that I'd do myself if this was the thing I did. That'd be fun. We found the Paradise Pine diary and snuggled it up on the couch. Aaron wrote aloud the first 4 or 5 entries before I decided to take over. We are about halfway through the book when we called it night and went to bed. The following evening we stayed up late as we had had a long nap that day. The plan had been to go on a hike, but it had been too cold out. Luckily, the furnace in the basement was, to our amazement, still burning. We spent the whole day lazing around the living room. After dinner, Aaron practiced pool while I read aloud from the journal, starting where he had left off. I read for an hour before finally writing the journal entry of the guests who had stayed before us. I was very interested in this one. These people had to have a good story. The writer had chosen to format his entries into dates with timestamps. There were over 6 pages, and I could already tell the handwriting sort of disintegrated as the days wore on. Oh, they must have been drunk all weekend. Look at how messy this handwriting gets. Held the book up to Aaron. Can you read it? He asked, spinning the ball into a corner pocket. Of course, I'm great at reading other people's shitty handwriting by now. I set up an empty screen and took out a sip while I needed to read. Okay, so we're getting to epistolary type stuff now. Neat. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely giving me the same vibe that Baraska did, but that's not exactly a bad thing. It's just the writer's writing style. Sunday, November 4th, 3:30 p.m. Wow, what a beautiful cabin. My wife and I booked this place for 2 weeks at a whim, and we can't believe how lucky we got. Barely made it back here with the truck. There's snow everywhere, at least a foot deep. And now it's below 40 degrees outside. Thankfully, the furnaces in the basement is huge, as promised by Marissa. So all 3 floors are warm and cozy. Monday, November 5th, 11:30 a.m. We're snowed in. We had wanted to run home today to grab a few things we forgot, but that is definitely not happening. The road is unmanageable, so it appears we can't go anywhere. Looks like we'll be spending most of our day inside, drinking mimosas and playing poker. As you can see, we aren't too upset about it. Tuesday, November 6th, 7:25 p.m. My wife Sarah is currently making roast chicken, and I'm finally going to start writing. This is the reason we came here, after all, and I refuse to waste the opportunity to cure my writer's block. It's just so gorgeous here, I haven't written a damn thing. But you've written these journal entries. I also saw someone walking around the tree line today. I have no idea how they're surviving out there. We don't even go outside. It was 34 degrees last I checked. Well, you guys must be from some sort of, like, really tropical, subtropic state then, like I am. Because, I lived up north most of my childhood, as I've said multiple times in videos before, and it gets below 30 degrees. It gets fucking It gets in single digits, sometimes in the negative digits at times. Yeah. And with this winter storm that happened recently, I got to experience that type of cold again. And boy howdy did I not miss it. It was all the worse because our fucking heater in this house, like, broke the fucking shit the bed. So, like, for a solid, like, day and a half, we were without heat. Yeah. In basically single digit weather. That sucked. Anyway, Wednesday, November 7th, 9 p.m. Today, Sarah and I made a snowman and snow angels. We don't get snow in Scottsdale, so we're taking full advantage of it. I haven't been able to write anything new, but I did edit the previous two chapters of my book. I think the beauty of this place is just too distracting. I'm kidding. Sort of. I think we may have neighbors. I was having a cigarette with balcony last night, and I saw some of the Sheelan again. He's extremely tall, and certainly close enough to say hello when I waved it when he waved. He walked back into the woods. I'll have to ask Marissa about this. She didn't mention any neighbors nearby. Thursday, November 8th, 1 p.m. This morning I woke up to find animal tracks all around the outside of the cabin. I don't know what sort of animal made them. The tracks were the shape of a rectangle, almost like they were made by the end of a 2x4. By the time Sarah got up at 11, the snow had mostly melted, but you could still kind of see them. I think last night's snow was the last we will get while we were here. The sky's looking pretty clear. Sarah thinks I am succumbing to cabin fever, so today we're going for hikes. It's so beautiful out. Friday, November 9th, 7 a.m. Last night someone tried to get into the house. I woke up at about 1 in the morning to the sound of banging on the front door. Not knocking, banging. I went downstairs and grabbed a pool stick. I asked who it was and the banging stopped. I waited a few minutes and then opened the door, but there was nothing there. I started back up the stairs to wake up Sarah, as she's a heavy sleeper. Banging sounded again, more urgently this time, and from the other side of the room on the wall next to the bookshelf. Stopped after a long minute, and I sat down on the steps and waited all night for them to try something. Nothing happened after that. Okay, yeah, this is actually getting me really creeped out now. That's, it's bringing back some memories of my own. I'm gonna say that to the end. Friday, November 9th, 2 p.m. I told Sarah what happened and she wants to leave. I'm not really convinced, but Sarah scares easily. I will admit I'm a bit on edge. Tried to start the car this morning, but nothing happened. I'm not a car guy and I have no idea what to do. We can't hike out, and there's no signal out here, and we can't find a house phone. We talked about it and decided we're just going to wait it out here. I know people have rented this cabin out on the 16th, so we'll just have to wait the week for them. I did find a wood axe, which I'm keeping in the bedroom, just in case they come back to harass us. I think it's probably a homeless person living out in the woods. There were tracks around the house again this morning, and I'm no longer convinced they're from an animal. We'll see if they come back. Wait. Okay, so the way that this author described the cabin is that it's 3 floors. There's a basement. There's a first floor. There's a second floor, which is just the bedroom, master bedroom. And from the look of that picture, the first floor is like significantly off the ground. And you're saying that they first banged on the door and then banged on the side of the house where the bookshelf was, which means that this thing is definitely not human. That much is very much obvious. Saturday, 5 a.m. Last night the knocking was back, but it was something knocking on the sliding door to our bedroom from the second-story patio. I don't know how it climbed up there. It knocked on the minute gently, almost coaxingly. A thin curtain covers the sliding glass door, so I couldn't see what it was. The knocking finally stopped, and a full minute later it started again, becoming the loud, insistent banging the night before. I reached over Sarah and grabbed the axe, bounded out of bed as she screamed. By the time I got to the sliding door, the banging had stopped. Drew back the curtain, but there was no one on the patio. In the moonlight, I saw it walking away from the cabin back towards the tree line. Sarah stumbled over the window, and I showed her the retreating figure. She covered her face and cried. What we saw terrified us both. It's not human. It's tall, maybe 10 feet, and skinny. It looks like a black stick figure and possibly thin. It has no hands or feet, just stumps. And no face. It's just a black oval with no features. The contrast was horrifying. This tall black stick man walking through the snow, reached the tree line and disappeared. Spent the next hour trying to calm Sarah down. She said we have to leave. I think she's right. When we were finally calm enough to lie in bed again, the silence was deafening. Felt myself slowly start to drift off. It was out of the silence that the knocking came again, this time on our bedroom door. I jumped out of the bed and grabbed the axe again. Sarah backed into a corner and screamed. By the time I threw open the door, the knocking had stopped and there was nothing there, but the front door was wide open. You can get inside the cabin. I don't know what it wants. Okay, so that's a creepy detail. It has enough intelligence to open a fucking cabin door and get in there. That is... Saturday, 5 p.m. I am terrified. My wife is terrified. Today I considered setting the car on fire just to see if the smoke could attract someone's attention. Sarah wouldn't let me because it's our only way out, so we packed the car up instead. Maybe when the snow melts, we'll be able to fix the car. I caught Sarah staring off a lot, and she hasn't said much since she saw the stick man. Seeing the thing, it's affected me too. I've been having nightmares today. I've never had a migraine before. I want to protect my wife, but I have no idea what to do. I caught Sarah staring at me earlier, almost in a trance. I asked what was wrong, and she said, "It eats us." She seemed to snap out of it pretty quick after that, and asked me why I was staring at her. She doesn't remember saying it, and we can't figure out what it means. This thing is fucking with our heads. Sunday, 10 a.m. Last night I stayed up all night. It's slightly snowing, all was quiet. Sunday, 7 p.m. I found footprints this afternoon on the upstairs balcony. The same rectangular ones the stick man makes. He was outside the window again. I brushed him away before Sarah could see. It stopped snowing an hour ago and it's twilight now. I can see him in the tree line. I saw him turn around and walk back into the woods. His profile is as thin as a piece of paper. The stick man came back, though. I think we're going to die here. Monday, November 12th, 9 a.m. Last night I went out on the balcony at around 8 for a cigarette. I heard a noise behind me and turned to see if the stick man was on the roof 5 feet above me. I ran back inside to grab the axe and screamed at Sarah to arm herself. Turned around to run back outside and heard the stick man running above me on the roof in the same direction. When I got outside, the thing was gone. I saw it running off into the trees again. But it was different. It was taller. I think there's more than one. Okay. When I got back inside, Sarah had locked herself in the upstairs bathroom. She was hysterical and kept saying she was going to die here. I tried to give her the pool stick, but she wouldn't open the door for anything. Sat in the bed and waited. At some point, Sarah must have fallen asleep because all was quiet. It was then that I first heard it walking around the kitchen. Backed away from the bedroom door, courage suddenly failing me. It was in the house. I waited for more sounds from the kitchen, but none came. After a few minutes, finally heard a thump. It was on the stairs. It was climbing the stairs. Thump, slowly but loudly. Thump. I banged the bedroom door from my side and told it to leave us alone. Thump. Sarah was screaming again, sobbing. It could hurt me, but I would never let it hurt my family. It stopped when it got to the top step. I could feel it on the other side of the door. It didn't make a sound. It tried to think of a strategy that would give me the upper hand if it attacked. I finally decided that if I threw the door open, it would knock the stickman down the stairs. On the count of 3, I turned the handle and kicked the door. It swung open freely, and I saw the black stickman still down the landing of the stairs facing me. It was more than 10 feet tall. I was paralyzed with horror for several long seconds before it started running up the stairs at me without warning. I stumbled back in the room as fast as I could, and I realized that death at the hands of the stickman was more than death, worse than death. It ate you, it kept you. It stopped at the top step and dipped its head through the door, taking 2 steps into the room. It was just a tall black shadow, almost more of a dense absence of light than a solid black. Realizing the axe was still in my hand, I moved between the stickman and the bathroom door, raised the axe to attack, and at that moment the stickman screamed. It wasn't like anything I'd ever heard before. I wanted to hold my hands over my ears as I felt an ebbing thunder in my brain. I heard the mirrors shatter in the bathroom from the sound. I thought of Sarah. With the last ounce of strength I had, I ran at the thing, axe high, and brought it down on the creature's chest. Over and over again, for what felt like forever, it was probably no time at all, threw me aside and heard my wife scream. It's the last thing I remember before I passed out. When I woke my eyes again, it was mid-morning. My wife was gone, the bathroom door was gone, and the axe was gone. I looked for Sarah all morning. I walked deep into the woods. I searched for miles. I'm going to sleep for a few minutes and then go back out in the woods to find her. I hope I meet the stickman. If Sarah is dead, I want to be dead too. I think that's what it wanted all along. Monday, November 12th, 6 p.m. It's getting dark and harder to search the woods. On my mind, all I hear is her voice. It eats us over and over again. What has it done to her? I couldn't save her. After everything, I couldn't save her. When I first realized I'd forgotten medication, the snowstorm stopped us from leaving. When I saw the stickman, I thought it'd been a blessing in disguise. I need to be clear-headed and alert to protect my family. And I couldn't do that when I was on haloperidol, whatever the fuck that is. I don't know what that medicine is. But it didn't matter in the end. I couldn't save her. The car started on the first try this morning. It's letting me leave. Gonna drive around to the other side of the mountain and walk back towards the cabin. Maybe I'll find the stream. Maybe I'll find Sarah. Useless to stay another day. The stickman is gone. I know it in my heart. It's below freezing and the furnace is burned out. Firewood is gone. If I find her, I'll come back and write in this book. My only friend now. Huh. I'm attempting to put myself in the mindset of being someone sitting in a cabin while reading about the cabin and what happened or might happen, and it's giving me the fucking creeps. It's one thing to read a scary story when you're safe in your own bedroom. It's another to be in a fucking cabin in the middle of the fucking woods, 13 miles from town, and read something like this about the place you're staying in. It's a whole nother thing, man. It's a whole nother thing. Yeah. Aaron had stopped playing pool long ago, and the wine hadn't been touched since I started reading. We stared at each other as the last words of the diary soaked into the air. We both seemed to wake from our paralyzed state at the same time. Threw the book across the room, and Aaron backed up into the bookcase, saying, "Jesus. This is fake, right?" I asked as I stood up. I didn't need the glass of wine anymore. I needed the bottle. "I don't know, Linz. I don't think so." The guy said he was a writer. He insisted. Probably just wanted to write scary story for other guests. Although he really crossed the line into downright disturbing. Took a sip of wine and turned around to see Aaron eyeing the stairs warily. "You can't be serious, Aaron. It's creepy as shit, I agree, but come on." Almost like he didn't hear me, Aaron started descending the stairs. I don't know what I don't know what he wanted to see up there, but I put the wine down and followed him. By the time I got into the bedroom, Aaron was sliding the glass door open. I followed him out on the balcony. You could see the tree line from the patio very clearly. Searched was there any movement, but saw nothing. Turned to say something to Aaron and found him studying the roof. He threw a wild look at me and went back inside. I followed him in. Aaron paced around the room. "What?" I was starting to get annoyed. "It's all just like in the story. You can see the tree line, the field, and the roof from the balcony, and look." He pointed to that attached bathroom. "There are hinges, but no door. There should be a door. It's a bathroom. And the mirror." "What?" I interjected. "It was shattered by the stickman's scream." He was starting to scare me. Aaron was usually the most logical person I knew. "The stickman? Did you even pay attention to what you read? There was no stickman." "No shit." "No, I mean, there never was. His last entry about the medication, about how they got snowed in and couldn't go back for it. Haloperidol, it's used to treat schizophrenia." "Oh, okay, that gave me a chill. Lindsay, go read again. The entire thing is him slowly succumbing to his psychosis page by page. Hell, his wife knew it was happening." "This is madness, Aaron." I walked in the bathroom and looked around. "Think someone died in here 4 days ago?" Aaron shook his head. I don't know. I think it's a possibility. The shower curtain is torn down, the mirror is broken. It certainly looks like there could have been a struggle in here. And the door, the axe, both missing. The logic of conclusions dawned on me. Oh my god, if this is real. Aaron, we cleaned this place top to bottom. We got here. If there was a murder, we've destroyed all the evidence. We didn't know. We didn't know someone died here. We still don't know. Aaron, where's the body? I don't know. Maybe it's buried out in the woods. We need to leave. We need to get help. Let's take the book to the police and tell them what we found when we got here. Just be safe. Okay. Jesus, this guy can come back at any time. Let's get out of here. We just started. We just started down the stairs. Another thought occurred to me. I actually thought of this thought myself. I'm pretty sure if what they're thinking of is what I'm thinking of, they're burning the body. "Aaron?" He turned around. "Yeah." "He said the fire in the furnace had burned out. Did you put fire in when you lit it?" "No, it was almost pitch black. I couldn't see any firewood." "But We've been burning that furnace for almost a day. I could see the implication slowly draw over Aaron's face. What have we been burning, Aaron? He ran for the basement door and I followed. When he opened the door, I can't describe to you what came up from there. It was pungent. It was a hot, pungent, heavy air. I stood at the top step as Aaron descended into the basement. The axe is down there. I took a deep breath and followed him down. I stood on the top. I stopped on the bottom stair, refusing to go any further. It was very dark, but for the light coming down the stairs and a soft orange glow in the back of the room. Aaron knelt in front of the stove door. He looked up at me and I nodded. Aaron slowly turned the handle and pulled open the furnace door. The fire lit his face, and after a moment, the horror expressed there told me everything I needed to know. No! Oh, God, no. Okay. Oh, shit, man. That is tasty. That is some tasty, spooky linguine right there. Holy hell. I am so fucking glad that they went with this route instead of the fucking stick monster being a thing. That would have been so fucking goofy. Would have laughed my ass off. They found Jason Harding less than a day later. He had, oh, okay, 50 yards from the cabin. In fact, he had been hanging there when we pulled up on Sunday, the 18th of October. I've often wondered if he hung himself because he wanted to be with his wife, or if he hung himself because he realized what he had done. I hoped it was the latter, because I hated him so much. Not for his crime, but for what he did. But what he did to us. Sarah Harding had been burned in that furnace for a day, and for a day we had breathed in every atom of her body. Yeah, yeah, that's why I was getting all chilly. That's why my back was fucking going. Okay. We had been kept warm by the flesh of her corpse. Why didn't it smell? We were given a very scientific explanation, citing high burning temperatures, years of pine infusion, and the pieces of wooden door burning in there with her. But it didn't stop the nightmares. The case made headline news, at least locally. It was dubbed the Murder Cabin. Aaron and I managed to prevent our names being associated with Paradise by through an anonymity clause on our witness statements. We never told our friends or family were involved. We tried to forget. Paradise Pines still stands today. It is even available for rent. The owner insisted on keeping the cabin journal, so the police department tore out Jason Harding's pages and gave it back to her. It still sits on the table next to the bookshelf, and tenants still read it and write in it about their own weekends. I pity those people, and I know they wonder about the torn pages, and they will never know what was written on them. They will laugh at the doorless bathroom and wonder why the furnace has a sour smell, but they won't realize why. Because after the headlines about the gruesome murder began to fade from the spotlight, the owner renamed the cabin. And now those who look at it, who book it, will never know they are bringing their families to the famous murder cabin. They won't find out that the furnace that warms them at night is where she is buried. They won't realize that the tree their children are climbing is the one from which Jason Harding hanged. Because they cannot know At the place they sleep is actually the Paradise Pine. Jesus fucking Christ, man. Okay. That one actually really made me emotional. Holy shit. Uh, so overall, I really like this one. The writing really lulled me in, and it got me invested really fast, which I can't say for a lot of online scary stories like this. So that's a positive. The twist was very, very makes sense. It makes a lot of sense because if I had known what that medicine was, I would have guessed it immediately myself. If I had known what haloperidol was, I would have fucking immediately known, but I didn't. And wow, that one was really good. I'm gonna pause it and find another one to read. See ya in a sec. Okay, so I was just, looking for another one, and like all of these idiots in this comment section were saying the exact same ones over and over and over again, like they were fucking reading from a script or something. It's genuinely annoying. And I'm just sitting here like, you guys are pussies. Like, seriously. Pen Pal scared you. Fucking Baraska scared you. I was more depressed by those two than actually scared. And then you had the worst offender, which was fucking Russian Sleep Experiment. I'm sorry, what? That is one of the worst creepypastas that's apparently popular for some reason. I really don't get it, man. Stupid. It's really stupid. You can never go to one of these posts and just try and find a new one that's actually, compelling. No, it's always the same old people talking about the same old stories over and over ad nauseum. With no small bit of nausea. Anyway, I found this one, and I wondered if it was any good, but I think I'm just gonna end it here because I don't feel like reading another one right now. So thanks for watching, I guess. I'll see you fuckers in the next video whenever that's gonna be.